All right, welcome back, System Warriors, to another edition of Pedal to the Metal. Very special podcast tonight. We're going to do top 5 games of Gen 7. Top 10? Top 10.
Oh,
Five.
Oh, we narrowed it down to 5 then. All right.
Yeah, we're narrowing it down to 5.
Oh, it's going to be hard. But before we get into all to that, we're going to throw it over to the co-host, the Master Shredder, the new telecast owner. Eroica, what's going on?
Oh my God! Be careful before you have kids, System Wars Land, because they take your every waking moment. So I'm pretty sure that like about a half hour ago, Animal and I were having a conversation. I was literally delirious talking to him, like in between naps.
You didn't sound like Eroica.
No, it's like, yeah, I'm just run down. But I'm excited for the podcast tonight.
It sounds like you really are.
I am, man.
You're so amped.
I've been like, I haven't had like a good video game conversation in a while, so I'm jacked. So who else we got tonight, Hyle?
Well, of course, we got our co-host, Animal Mother.
Yeah, man.
Hey, everybody. How you do? I feel like it's been forever since we did a podcast.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like it's been a long time.
It's been a couple weeks.
I feel like it should be celebrated, the rocky-like ascent that Animal Mother has taken from guest to co-host to video producer.
Yeah. I've climbed an arduous ladder of dick jokes.
Yeah. He started as
He sucked a lot of dicks, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kyle. No, I wanna plug us real quick. If you guys go to youtube.com/pointinsertion, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna be as shameless as I can be. If you guys subscribe like Champ, you can be cool like him. Not as cool, but we're doing a new kind of promotion to kind of build up our rapport and everything else. If you subscribe, you have a chance to win a $20 gift card of your choice, whether it be Steam, Xbox Live, or PlayStation Network. And we give those out once a month. So if you subscribe to the channel, you enter, and it helps us grow, and it helps us make a better show. It helps us listen to what you guys want and all that jazz, and we can make an awesome product.
Mm-hmm.
How close are we getting to the Vitas? I haven't really shamelessly plugged that. I wanted to do it the honest way.
You guys are about 440 views. So you guys have 1 month, a little more than a month, and you have about 440 views left, I think.
Damn.
Come on, help us out, System Wars.
It's time to join every video game.
Yeah.
It's time to join every video game forum you can think of, Eroica.
I know,
Yeah.
man. Or like make a ton of alt accounts on YouTube and just watch the
Hey,
shit
you're a
out of
mod.
Cactus.
Can't you put it in the sticky? You got to click here. She'll get I'm going to be hard ass on you.
I did. Well, I've been trying to fish for hits in System Wars, so definitely, man. Anyone who hasn't watched Cactus Team, watch it.
And it's only getting better from here on out.
It really is. You know what? I mean, I'm not saying it because I like a few of the characters in it, but it's pretty funny. I like it.
So, Eroica, we heard the other distinctive voice in the background. Who else do we have with us?
Well, today we've got JG4X Champ. He's doing like 24-hour podcast for Champ today. So what's going on, Champ?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying my day. It's a good day when I get to kibitz about video.
That's it.
So, Champ, a sports talk. What'd you think of the UConn game? What'd you think of that?
Oh, the one with the crazy shot against Wisconsin?
No, just
Or are you talking about
the final.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm not. My bracket was destroyed, so I didn't particularly care for it. But the ending was exciting. Like, I was pretty much not into the game, and then then I was into it.
I got killed like the first round or two with Duke.
Everybody got killed the first round. That first few days was like, well, no one won the $1 billion.
Yeah.
This is over. I mean, whatever. Everybody knew that the statistical anomaly of trying to pull that off is,
astronomical.
Like the only way it would happen is if all the favorites kept winning all the way through.
Right.
Which almost never happened.
Right. There still hasn't been a 16 that's beaten a 1 though, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so are you guys ready to jump into
everything. This? Watch everything you can. Subscribe to it all.
Yeah.
I really do. I want to get you guys. If you guys get this by May 18th, as I explicitly stated, I will get you guys the new Vitas with Borderlands 2.
Fuck, come on, System Wars, help us out.
So Roy is just like, I don't want to buy a Vita, but I'll take a free one.
Definitely take a free
the
one.
numbers have to be up there because I'm checking the minutes. You can't just click, let the view go up. It's got to be watched.
Shut up, animal. You'll take a hit and you'll like it.
I will.
Yeah.
Why don't you just? Never mind.
Never mind.
Never
Yeah.
mind.
So, anyways, let's jump into this pretty weighty podcast that we wanted to start with maybe a small discussion before we get into our top 5 on just kind of like a round table on what we thought the very best console of Gen 7 was, and we're gonna exclude the PC in this, I would imagine, right? Do you guys want to?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, it is a platform, but
the conversation ends when the PC enters.
Yeah,
kind of. So.
It does.
So we're talking X360, PlayStation 3, and the Nintendo Wii.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to leave handhelds out of it too because blab it on, they just don't count. So anyways, what do you guys think?
Hyle, why don't you start this one?
I'll say PS3 won the format war. Blu-ray became the standard as the standard this gen because of it. And had the most, I believe, the most exclusives and the highest scoring, perfect 10 out of 10 game, and of course those 2 top 5 goats that Champ loves to play. But no, I think it came out at $600, whichever was a laughing price. I agree, but to rebound and I don't care what people say, at least tie the 360 in sales, if not surpass it, in a year's short of time frame, is incredible.
Can I follow that up?
Yes.
Little old school Heil Eroica battle here. I'm gonna rebuttal that just with the idea and that and I agree with what Heil just said. I actually think the PS3 in the end became my console of choice. I feel as though I turn on my PS3 probably 5-1 over my Xbox 360 at this point. As the generations have slid past into Gen 8. So I'm not gonna argue the points that he just made, but if you're talking about the impactful console that came with the forward-thinking ideas and concepts that were most used and built upon, you're talking Xbox Live, you're talking the way that gaming kind of entered into the living room a little bit more.
No,
I think we'd
more
be
than 120 million consoles. What?
I think we would be remiss to say that the Xbox 360 was the console that was the de facto idea that was the most prevalent in Gen 7. For me, you're right. I think that PS3 had a lot of wonderful games, a lot of wonderful experiences, things like that. But let's not kid ourselves. Like Sony was following Microsoft's lead all generation long.
No. Anyway, what do you think, Animal? Since Heroic was wrong there, what do you think?
Can we say this? Can we say that the Wii U was a joke with some decent games?
The Wii U is a joke with decent games, but that is a new generation.
Yeah.
I mean the Wii.
The Wii is a joke
with decent games.
With some great games.
Yeah. You got Super Mario Galaxy, you got No More Heroes 2. No. Okay, Champ. And some other stuff.
What was great about the Wii U is it's kind of like
not the Wii U.
The Wii U.
He said the Wii is it brought
I think it brought gaming
brought more people into our medium that normally wouldn't play video games.
Sure.
Yeah, that I can agree with. I gotta say, I think Sony, if I had to really break it down, I'd say that what Sony did by the end of generation, they set up systems that are almost practices for this generation.
Yep.
But I think what forced Sony to get there was Microsoft to start, and
that's my point.
I think the 360. I think the PS3 is an amazing console. Don't get me wrong; it's got some of the best games, and it had some of the best end generational support. I'm looking at you, Microsoft, for fucking bitching out like you always do. But
or dropping the core. Yeah.
Sony had to get there somehow, and Microsoft kind of put them into that corner to to get there. So, I mean, I think that the 360 overall, I think it had a smarter architecture. I think Xbox Live became the platform for the system.
Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. I think the live component, the online, the achievements, the online play, the chat, the text messaging, I'll give that to Microsoft.
Party chat.
Yeah, party chat.
These are de facto features that like people expect in
That streamlined it, but I mean the PS2 had online gaming with Siphon Filter.
Yeah, but Jesus.
I just gave credit.
No, I mean it had it, but I mean, you know.
I think it was better than the Xbox at the time.
Well, we're not talking about Gen 6, guys. We're talking about Gen 7.
Yeah, you want to fucking rumble on Gen 6 shit?
Yeah, we'll rumble on Gen 6 shit next week. But
Super Nintendo is better than the Genesis.
Oh, I know,
motherfucking Nintendo.
Period.
But I think Microsoft really pushed. I think they pushed forward, and then they always do. They just said, "Fuck it, we made so much money, we don't have to give a shit anymore." Like where they could be really great technological leaders, they always fall short by saying, "Okay, that's enough."
So wait, you're saying when Microsoft introduced Kinect, they just didn't give a shit. All right,
that's pretty much what I'm saying, because that's what happened. But funny. You have to give credit, like Roik is saying, you have to give credit where credit's due. The 360 really pushed Sony to, in my opinion, to kind of amp up the competition and just really get back on their game.
So what does Champ think about all this?
Yeah.
I think all right, so I think this discussion needs to be, it depends what angle you're attacking it from. If we're talking commercially, there's no way the PS3 didn't lose. And here's why. When you went from owning the market to essentially creating your competition, because that's what they did. Mm-hmm. Like Microsoft was not competition the gen before this. They weren't.
Yep.
And realistically, going in, they were the underdog. And Sony basically gift wrapped them so much of the market and then opened the whole, I mean, whatever. You could say Nintendo did their own thing and caught everyone off guard, and that one isn't necessarily just on Sony, but making your system $600, making it so hard to develop for, that cost them a market. So if you're looking commercial success, there's no nice way to put this. They lost money and they lost market share. That is a loss, no matter how many different ways you want to spin this. So if we're talking impact, I mean, I really got to ask, yes, Blu-ray is a thing, but that's not part of the gaming market. That's entertainment. That's movies, that's important. But even then, I think Blu-ray has taken a bit of a backseat to what has now become like the instant stream generation, if you know what I mean. So like they're taking a backseat there. Like instead of staying ahead of the curve, if anything, they've shown that the PS3 was behind the curve for so long, because where Microsoft was already in the now generation, they were pimping that whole selling you your movie digitally for a while now, and clearly that was the route to go, because Amazon Prime, Netflix, they all speak for themselves at this. Hulu, right? So I don't think impact's in Sony's favor. I think the one argument that I don't think the PS3 actually loses at, in fact, I don't think it's a discussion, is if you're just someone who wants to play the best of the best games,
like Metal Gear
Solid 4. Discussion. Okay, let's that. But no, it's not even just the fact that the PS3 had more exclusives, right? It'd be one thing if it just had exclusives for the sake of exclusives, and some of them are there. Like Resistance is nothing special, neither is Infamous. They're kind of mediocre. But at the same time, the PlayStation 3 had Demon Souls. Mm-hmm. Like you can say Dark Souls is a thing. That doesn't stop Demon Souls from existing. PlayStation 3 had Valkyria Chronicles. That's a game that did not do well commercially. It didn't stop that game from being excellent.
Game was awesome.
Journey is a thing. Like for all the indie games between the two of them, Braid, Super Meat Boy, they're all there on the PlayStation 3, like all the excellent stuff. But Journey isn't on the Xbox 360.
Right.
And, Naughty Dog's work, Uncharted 2, Last of Us speaks for itself. Metal Gear Solid 4 speaks for itself, to a degree.
If you want world-class gaming, the Sony platform.
No, and then the other issue is, yes, the 360 for a while has better multiplats, like individual moments, like Bayonetta is substantially better on the 360. Skyrim is a better game on the 360, yes, but what about the rest of the generation? Red Dead Redemption is not worse on the PS3. Not enough for it to swing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Neither is Modern 411 and stuff like that.
Unless you're splitting hairs like most.
Yeah, whatever. You care about if you're that much of a graphics whore, then it begs the question: why are you even console gaming?
Yeah,
get a PC.
Yeah, it's like the PC. You don't split hairs. You just have the games.
Yeah, and then you can't play Red Dead Redemption.
And then you can't play Red Dead Redemption. or what's the new System Wars thing against PC? You can't play Game of the Year games or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's cute. But to bring it back on track, like, yes, the start of Sony's generation might not have been strong, but they finished way strong. Like, you want to talk about, like, the ending of things matters. So I don't understand why Microsoft shouldn't be punished for a second half where they started off a generation where they gave us Viva Pinata and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. They funded Gears of War and Mass Effect. Like, they were doing relatively new things with some of their IPs or getting new IPs. And then all of a sudden, like, the most recent new IP they funded is Battle Block Theater, which is a cool game, but it's also a downloadable game.
Right.
Sony's most recent big project was Last of Us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I think you bring up a lot of good points, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at as far as like with Heil's initial points, like the whole Blu-ray thing. Like, yeah, that's definitely something that Sony helps
benefits from.
Exactly, but I would argue the counterpoint being that the Xbox 360 did not have a less substantial gaming experience because it didn't have Blu-ray. Like, Blu-ray was a nice thing to have, but I think it would argue, like, if we were in Gen 8 now and the machines were not on Blu-ray, I'd be a little bit concerned. But I can't say that Blu-ray was like an ultimate game changer for Gen 7. But the point about the gaming, though, is incredibly valid for PS3. I mean, they really did seem to build up speed as the gen went on, where Microsoft kind of petered out by like 2011. It was kind of like, well, I guess we're done here. And you're right. I mean, those are things that should be held against it. I think at the end of the day, for me, though, is that I feel like if I look back in, say, 2 generations from now, let's say, and I don't know how long this generation will last, but let's say 15 years from now, I look back, I'm still thinking Gen 7 is the generation of the Xbox 360. And the reason I'm thinking it is because of I really, and I kind of touched on this earlier, I feel like it set the tone for the expectations, for the features, for the peak of what the gaming experience was derived from the ideas that were born on the Xbox 360.
So again, yeah, that would come back to impact, which again, I'm backing you on that. It's the 360, because anything that could have been influential on the PS4's part was outclassed by something better.
Right.
You know, it was such a bizarre generation. There was a complete swap at the end of it. It was just a complete role reversal. It was so bizarre to, you're on System Wars and people go, "Oh, you're a fucking cow, you're a fucking cow." It's like, no, it's just like the 360 is an awesome system, but like Microsoft really, I mean, back
they could have done more with it. They could have done.
They could have done so much more with it, and at the end of the generation,
it's like an athlete on its last legs.
Yeah, it just petered out, and it was just so bizarre. But I mean, both systems at the end of the day were really, really great.
Unlike the Wii.
Unlike the Wii. The Wii Charizard. Sorry, the Wii sucks.
I don't even. I mean, the Wii. I'm not going to even go into a whole long thing about the Wii. But I mean, Virtual Store. I liked being able to like buy old Nintendo games, and I mean, right now it's the only way.
They even did that poorly. They even did that.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think I gamed online. I let my kids play against their cousins, like 2 hours away, on Mario Kart. On the Wii. I think that was the only online gaming I did, and I mean, it was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Nothing easy about it, and you're right. I mean, the presentation of the store and everything else was just not streamlined at all. But it's still the only way I can play ActRaiser, so got to deal with it. But I don't know, Heil, do you have any last words, or are we ready to drop the crown on the Xbox 360's head?
I would agree with that, but if it's a majority, I guess,
No, wait, no. So here's my question. is the impact the important part here, or is it the part where the library is better?
Well, that's
because I think if the library discussion is,
right.
I'm with Heil.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even deny it either. I mean, I think when you look at it side by side, I mean, there's some very impressive bullet points there for the PS3, especially late as the gen went on. Just the idea that I don't even know what the right word is, like the breadth of the library is just so attractive if you're just getting into gaming. Like PS3 had tons of material and like various types of games and genres to play. I don't know, but I still can't. For me, I can't get away from the whole impact thing. We're talking about strictly like the most memorable, the best console. I don't know. For me, it's gonna always come back to the 360. As much as I really like the PS3.
Animal, I'm guessing you're with Royko on this one.
I'm going a little. I'm with him, but like it goes kind of both ways because the 360 started strong, but it ended weak. But it just because it ended weak doesn't mean that library didn't stop existing. You know, games like Lost Odyssey and Star Ocean and
Viva
Pinata and Banjo-Kazooie and Gears of War 1. I mean, those games really they resonated with me at least. But you know, that library was really great up until I think 2011-ish. And I think seeing that Sony had to react to Microsoft like that, I think that it shows how powerful the 360 was, just in general. Like, you know, to have to really outwit your competitor like that, it shows how strong of a console it was. And it doesn't deter the PS3's library and what they did with the system by generation's end. But, you know, I'd say for pretty much the first like 2/3 of the console generation, it was just really 360 with PS3 having a lot of things sprinkled in there that were really awesome. But I think Sony really hit their stride in late 2010, 11-ish.
I would agree.
Just my 2 cents.
So who'd you pick?
360.
Okay, so Heil, are you gonna let them have this? Are you gonna dig your heels in this a little bit?
Like I said, I'm gonna be outvoted, so I picked.
I don't think it should be a vote.
I like the game, so.
The other argument I want to make for the games part is, you know, again, not to say impact should matter, but you guys are speaking about the 360 in some serious past tense right now. Like when you guys re-listen to this, you're gonna hear a lot of was, not is. So I think that's the matter, and I also think another argument to be made is, yes, maybe the PC isn't in this discussion necessarily, but you can't just ignore the fact that 360 did share a lot with the PC.
That's true too.
Like, but is that a shot against the 360 that it did that, or is that something that makes the 360 more attractive? Like I know a whole shitload of people who have no intention of PC gaming who got a chance to play The Witcher and they didn't play it on a Sony platform. You know what I mean?
I'm opening the floor up to you guys. So you bring up that concept. Like, should it be held against the game that PlayStation gamers could play it on the PC, or should it be held against the PlayStation 3 owners that they needed another device to play some of the 360
Absolutely. Games? I think. I mean, if there's a game like what isn't the first Left 4 Dead, isn't that another one that is only on the 360 and
Gears of War 1?
Yeah.
No, Gears of War 1 is on the. Oh, you're talking about PC. Never mind.
Yeah, PC and 360.
Yeah, sorry, I got confused.
I mean, what was a more recent one? I'm forgetting. What's the game you like, Animal? The Remedy, Alan Wake.
Alan Wake.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's another one.
God, I love Alan Wake. God bless you, Sam Lake.
So there is. I mean, that does bring up a good point, and there's some variety there too. There's some very, very important games that you know are staples of Gen 7 gaming that, even though by maybe some rigidity of rules that we set upon the forum we happen to frequent, are actual tangible, you know, games that are different in genre and a little bit more varied, like we're kind of praising the PS3 for right now, that happen to be on the Xbox platform and PC. I think that's a benefit for the Xbox personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna.
So
yeah.
So back to Heil on this. Like, I mean, Heil, are you just gonna let the PlayStation team die? Are you gonna let
No,
Team
I'll
Cow
do the
Nation?
fancy editing. I'll make PlayStation win, so it's all good.
All right, so gentlemen, you've reached your verdict, or
I haven't, and I don't do so. I guess my final thought is this: I don't pick the 360 as a haha PlayStation 3. I think that depending on what side of the bed I wake up tomorrow, I could wake up and kind of be like, wow, the PS3 really is a fantastic console. I mean, because it is. I just think that at the end of the day, this was the generation of the Xbox 360. And like Heil, kind of to put something up on your plate, like when we game, most of the time we're like, yeah, let's game on the 360. Like, let's party chat. Let's, you know what I'm saying? And not like,
Kyle, you bought Grand Theft Auto 5 on the
360. Right. Like, there's like,
what a traitor.
But I don't even, it's not even that I think Heil's a traitor, because we all know how dedicated he is to Sony, but like, it's the, it's just the idea that like, that was the de facto console. I don't know. I can't get away from that point. It really was the de facto console.
I think the other argument that's kind of not being brought up, and kind of should, because now we take it for granted, multiplats, but like big PlayStation exclusive franchises turning multiplat, like Grand Theft Auto, like Final Fantasy,
wait, Grand Theft Auto was always on PC.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, but come on, it was a timed exclusive for so long. It's about mindshare. Like, when people thought Grand Theft Auto, they associated it with PlayStation 2. When it came this generation, suddenly it was there day one. You know what I mean, Heil?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's really hard for those developers, like I said, to keep their games exclusive. So.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, now we know all those facts. We take it for granted, but like, remember the Final Fantasy 13 announcement? Before that game became shit.
Oh yeah, yep.
It was huge. That's what I'm trying to say.
That game is such shit.
So you guys are letting the 360 win?
I mean,
what would you pick, champ? Like, okay, you presented us two good arguments, and you said, boy, I'd have a hard time picking between the two, but I'm putting the spotlight on you. Like,
it depends. It depends what you ask me. If it's about how I like judging video games, mine ultimately comes down to
PlayStation 3 had the best.
It ultimately comes down to what games I like. And I played more on the 360. I played a lot of games on my 360. I bought all my multiplats when I was just console gaming on 360. But if I'm looking this now removed from that aspect, from my own personal playtime, and then just look at these games library for library, I can't ignore the fact that I think as good as the original Dead Rising is, as good as Viva Pinata is, I would still hold a system that had Valkyria Chronicles, Demon Souls, The Last of Us, Journey to a much higher standard than the other system, because 3 of those games would make my top 10.
But then, okay,
at least 2 of them.
All right, so but the to poke a hole, I guess, in where you're going with it, doesn't that all come down to personal preference? I mean, we just listed up, we just rattled off 10 games on the Xbox platform that I guess someone could say, oh, that's those are my 3 or 4, those are in my top 10, and I guess that's where you would pull from other sources and say, all right, well, how do we?
Yeah. So again, what I'm saying is, like, if it comes down to just the games, I'm totally backing the PlayStation 3 on that end, even though I played more on the 360. It's just there's a respect level I have for the PlayStation's exclusives. That the only reason I played more on the 360 than the PS3 was my friends, and because of how the 360 started. Otherwise, I mean, looking back on it now, I'm sorry, I think the PS3 swung that argument the other way as far as a machine for games. But again, back to your argument about impact, it's not even close. I mean, the 360 dictated so much of the PlayStation 3's decision making.
I could never vote for a console that had the DualShock 3 as its main controller. ever, Heil, ever.
Oh, that DualShock 4.
DualShock 4 is fucking buttery. Love it.
Understand, Heil, that I back you when it comes to the real argument. this phony baloney impact stuff, we can let them have it, Heil.
How do
No,
we got to come up? We got to come up to a resolution here. We got 4 guys. We all got to vote. I mean,
We got 4 guys. That's all I need.
yeah, that's great. Great. Animal immediately goes to the hole of dirty. Jesus. Yeah. I mean, unless. See, and you're right. I mean, there is a little bit of a little cheese whiz on the whole impact conversation, but like, because at the end of the day, we're gamers. At the end of the day, it's what do I want to turn on? What do I want to play more?
Yeah, I think what I wanted to say about your argument is I think the best wording you use to describe it is when you think of this generation.
Right.
It's kind of hard not to look at this as the generation where Sony screwed the pooch and Microsoft took advantage.
Yeah. And they did set the tone. I mean, Xbox Live, as much changing and evolving as it did. I mean, if you remember the original Xbox 360, like we all do, with the whole Blade, the Blade UI, and where it is now. And granted, it's slow as molasses right now, but like it went through so much change, and that whole time really truly kind of, I thought, led in forward thought of features and, as far as the user interface is concerned. And I feel like they took more risks and more chances at Microsoft to make online gaming to console gamers what it is today. And I think that Sony benefited from that. And I don't think that if you took the Xbox 360 out of the equation completely, I don't think we would be where we are today for console online gaming, without the impact of the Xbox 360. And I think that cannot be overlooked and understated. So fuck you guys.
Plus Viva Pinata.
Plus Viva Pinata. But that's what I'm going with. Heil, suck it.
I say I'm sticking with the games. That's what I care about. So I will
the argument that will never end.
It doesn't. So it's gonna be hard. Like I said, I don't know if we can. I guess we can each have our own individual. You're looking for a definite one, then champ. That's what you're coming down to.
Yeah, I think you guys should come. I think you guys should not pussy out and not give a consensus. I think you guys need to figure out a middle ground where you guys are willing to accept that one of these has to win.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I think biases aside, I think. Yeah, I think you guys seem to be swinging more towards like the 360.
I'm just going to talk about how great boobs are.
Hey, video game libraries are something that is left up to the eye of the beholder, but the impact and the way that we game being dictated by a machine and an idea and thought process that goes into that piece of hardware, to me, is the thing that speaks the loudest. I can't get away from that. I'll never be able to get away from that. Like Valkyrie Chronicles and MGS4 and Journey and great Gears of War and Forza 3 and Lost Odyssey and whatever else. I mean, you really can go tit for tat. But in the end, I will say the PS3, man, they slam dunked the end of the generation, but you're still going to go tit for tat. You're going to say a game, I'm going to say a game. You're going to say a game, I'm going to say a game, because that's just what you can do. This
you can do that with the hardware too.
How about we put you two in a knife pit and you guys?
I think Impact is still like the hard one here. Just because as much as I back your play, Heil, I think. Like when you're thinking of what did the PS3 like really accomplish on other ends of the spectrum? PSN was behind Xbox Live for the longest time.
It isn't anymore.
It isn't anymore. I think the PlayStation Plus stuff is actually
amazing,
better.
Yep, I do too.
Xbox Live has done, which I guess brings us back to the whole we speak to the 360 as was, and all of PS3's negatives as was, as opposed to is. Mm-hmm. Just saying that. But again, like beyond that, like. PlayStation Network was dictated by what Xbox Live was doing, and then, the rest of the market speaks for itself.
I mean, if, like I said, it was just a complete role reversal. If you look at where we are in this generation, Generation 8, PS4, and Xbox One, I honestly believe Sony is so successful with the PS4 right now because they took a lot of notes from
Mhm.
Microsoft. That's just they made a much easier architecture. They made it like not a basic PC architecture, but they made it more like a PC architecture. They streamlined the shit out of PSN. They were so far in advance for PSN for PS4. They released that shit like what almost 6 to 8 months before the PS4 came out.
Mm.
They launched that store version. I mean, I'm sure it'll change. I'm personally not a fan of it. I hate it. I like the old store. But I mean, they implemented that shit well and long before PS4 even came out. I could complain about the UI a bit. I mean, but that's cosmetic. But I mean, we're here because Microsoft really drove the competition harder at the beginning.
Yes.
That's why we're here. That's why the PS4 is great. Is because the 360.
Well, if you're gonna go hardware for impact, then it almost have to be the Wii because it made motion games like.
Yeah, but motion gaming is dead though.
Well, this gen, but last gen sure.
I don't know about dead.
It's like teetering on life support.
But they changed the generation, made
It's found
Microsoft
a
and
niche.
Sony go towards it. So
Put
that on your plate, heroic, and suck it.
Yeah, but it's funny though. I mean, it's funny though that we're talking now about the PS4 because and the generation is like a millisecond old, and like the great games have not even been thought of and designed yet.
We haven't even seen half the shit, and people are arguing about it. Like it's like, be patient. Like shit is coming.
Right, of course.
Everything.
But if you asked me now, like the way that things look, the way that things are carrying. So I guess I'm prefacing by saying that the generation's a millisecond old by saying the following is pretty much bullshit because the generation hasn't been laid out yet. But if you were to ask me right now what the best console of Generation 8 is, I would say, well, that's easy. It's the PS4 because it's the trendsetter. It's the one that's got the beefy hardware. It's the one that's got the PSN Plus, and PSN Plus is a legit game changer for PlayStation online gaming.
I mean, has Microsoft even given out games with gold for the One yet?
I don't think so. And that's the point, is that it's not really for me like a Microsoft versus Sony thing. It comes down to, at the end of the day, is like what is the piece of hardware that everybody's chasing and wants to emulate. And for Gen 8 right now, I would say it's the PS4, and for Gen 7, I would say
but then you got to bring the Wii into this, man. Now we're getting into a whole nother ball game because
sure.
I mean, Nintendo might have created a supply and demand with the Wii like they always do with things. But I think they really brought gaming to a central spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wii had some great games, but the hardware was really lacking. The online was really lacking, but
God, there was so much lacking.
I mean
yeah, that's sort of the problem with the Wii's success.
Do we call the motion controls? Do we call the Wiimote and the nunchuck? Is that a gimmick, or is that if it wasn't a gimmick, it would still be forward thinking and people would have adopted it? But
I think the problem with it is that gimmick is somehow referred to as this negative, and it's like not necessarily like. And every little tech advancement was in a way a gimmick.
I guess so. If you lay it out that way, you're right, because that gimmick becomes standards and practices eventually. Yeah. But I think
the iPhone is very much a gimmick. When they first announced it, it wasn't like, it just happens to be like the most obvious direction we should go with phones.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. But if you talk about trendsetters, then
yeah, but I also wonder if what the Wii created was a sustainable, or we talk about, the different demographics it brought in.
No, it didn't, because the Wii U's not selling.
Well, and that's
not even just the Wii U. The issue is that they went to the iPad smartphone market.
That too.
Like, is there how many Wiis ended up getting sold? Like 110 million Wiis or something?
I'll tell you.
And let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's 110 million Wiis that got sold to date. Are there like 90 million Wiis sitting right now out in the wild that only have Wii Sports, and that's pretty much like they're all sitting in fucking nursing homes, and you know what I'm saying though, it's one thing to say, yeah, they sold 110 million consoles. It's another thing. I think, to say that the impact that they had on the overall sustainability of gaming and what gaming is and where it's going. Did they catch lightning in a bottle that burnt out quick, or did they really create something that, is sustainable? And that's, I guess, one of my issues with what the Wii is. I'm one of those people. I'm going to sound like a wicked jerk when I say this, but I'm one of those people that honestly think that there's 90 million Wiis out in the wild and that only have Wii Sports. And people were just like, yeah, I went to my buddy's house and played the Wii, and I played Wii Bowling, and it was so fucking awesome. I went out and bought it, and then I never bought another game for it.
I wouldn't say
Wii Drunk Bowling is awesome, though.
Of course it is. Of course
I
it
would
is.
say
hilarious.
90 million. Apparently, hold on, let me see here. I pulled it up. Fuck. Where is it?
I feel like that's a crazy number to say.
No, I mean,
but
I'm saying
the point is the same.
I'm being dickish when I say it. I don't really think that there's 90 million. I'm just saying that, like, I think that there's a high percentage, more so than maybe factor, of people that bought the the Wii, solely for the purpose of they had a really cool experience with. Like, they're not consuming gaming the way that maybe the four of us do in this chat. Like, they're just, it was like a party thing. It was just something they did for fun. Right.
It sold 101 million, by the way.
Okay.
And that's from that source is from a official Nintendo
VG charts.
No, VG charts. Jesus, I saw somebody use VG charts the other day, and I was like, you, good luck.
Did the obligatory LOL VG chart?
Yeah, I know.
Like the next 10 posts. Yeah.
But I don't think it's 90 million. I'd say it's probably closer. And in all honesty, I mean, I wouldn't say 90, but I'd say close to like probably 75 to 80 million Wiis are probably just like worldwide, just like sitting around. I mean, because if you look at sales of the GameCube and Nintendo's other consoles, it's just like the GameCube only sold 22 million worldwide.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between having a Wii and using it as like a gaming console. And having the Wii because, holy shit, did you see Wii Sports? Now me and my family can do Wii Bowling on Friday night.
Oh my God, I'd kill myself if that was my family. Wii Bowling on Friday nights, like my mom.
Dude, no, when the Wii first came out, man, that thing was like the shit in college dorms. Yeah.
It was.
You take a shot for every pin you don't knock down. That
well, I'm talking about.
You got drunk quick.
I'm talking about with like, and I'm sorry if people are very family oriented. I mean, I love my family. I still live at home, and God bless them for still letting me live here. But like, if I had to play Wii Bowling with them every Friday night and wear like a collared shirt and some shit like that, like, Jesus,
you don't have to look like the douchebags in the commercial, you know.
I'm imagining Animal Mother like as like a really tall, fuzzy, like Leave It to Beaver character.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I am. I come home to my quaint little place and I sleep in my race car bed. I sleep in my race car bed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do have a race car bed.
I have a race car bed.
You got the Leave It to Beaver style.
Didn't you watch the live podcast? We showed the race car bed.
I know. Yeah, I saw it. I forgot about it though. You know what it is? Heil doesn't bring up that joke as much anymore, so like he actually gave it enough time for it to like not be a memory.
Yeah,
we can bring it back, champ. We'll bring it back.
Yeah, we'll bring back a race car bed. I guess. Yeah. LOL. We.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going. I tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do, since we've reached a conundrum here, and unless anyone has another compelling angle of this argument to bring in.
I love how I thought this was going to take 15 fucking minutes. I thought all me and you, I didn't know Champ was going to be on tonight, but I thought me and you were like, oh, we're going to be like, yeah, Xbox 360, and Heil would have been like, yeah, PS3, and would be like, all right, fuck you, Heil.
I thought I was going to be in the corner, the guy getting fucking rocks thrown at me for like Xbox 360.
Apparently I'm Super Cow, and I'm here vouching for the 360, saying, it's an awesome console.
I don't think that any of us here, Heil included, would say that the Xbox 360 wasn't an awesome console, and we did a shit ton of fun on it. I mean, and the same can be said about the PlayStation 3, and maybe in certain circles at the Charizard household, you could say the same thing about the Wii.
All the way up to 2009. Yep.
Right.
We've had plenty of fun in the Xbox 360 since fucking 2009. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna just say, whatever internal reasons you've expressed at this point. I want to hear. I want to hear either PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. Animal.
Xbox 360.
Champ.
Oh, I'm in on this for that part. PlayStation 3. I only care about the games.
Isle.
Games first, brother. PS3 all the way.
Looks
Xbox
like
60.
I think this is going to be a standstill. Listen, let's leave it at this. Let's leave.
Well, here's the thing, because again, I keep coming down to this. I feel like the 360 won. Like, come on. It's like a mind
You just
share.
said
Like,
PS3, and then he
no, I'm not saying.
Under his breath, he's like Xbox 360. Well,
Hey, no. Like, again,
son of a bitch.
No, I think for the sake of your argument, the sake of this discussion of what system, quote unquote, won the gen, whatever crap, fine. I think the 360 should be the one that wins. Just because, again, I think when you give up as much market share as Sony did, it's kind of ridiculous to say that they won.
All right.
Because they handed it to them on a silver platter.
They did.
I was gonna say Mafia 2 won the generation.
Fuck you. Now I'm bringing it back. Fuck this, Kyle. We ain't standing for that.
Fucking had it, Animal.
PlayStation for life.
Open your mouth. Damn it.
Okay, but mostly because I'd rather move on.
We're gonna kind of I guess we're gonna end the podcast. But at the end of the day, the two systems are and were really great. I mean, they still exist. And I think that this is one of the weirdest intergenerational periods we've had where, 2K is releasing the Borderlands prequel and, games are still coming out for the Xbox 360 and PS3 because they still have a lot of numbers attached to them.
Sure.
But they're both incredible systems when
totally agree.
when you whittle down the numbers and you whittle down the games. Luckily, if you were lucky enough to have an Xbox 360 and a PS3, you got a lot of great games at the beginning of the generation for the 360, and I'd say a little bit past the midpoint of the gen to the end of the gen, PS3 just, I'd say that they pretty much almost nailed exclusive after exclusive, but they still had great games up until the end, and they stuck with everybody until the PS4 just about launched.
Yeah.
Both systems were and still are incredible, and there's no doubting that they were just awesome. I mean, they were great times. I can't forget how many dick jokes I made with you guys over the years.
Yep. I'm gonna go tongue kiss my Xbox 360.
I think it was good that we had a gen where it is an argument because we had two gens right before this where it was not a discussion.
Yep.
No.
You're kind of a crazy person if you thought the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 didn't win.
Right. And I think we talk about that a lot, actually. I mean, I think that's what you want to root for in gaming in general. I mean, give me a reason to give me a reason to, speak highly of, and I will. And the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 certainly both did that. But if you're putting a gun to my head, I'm taking 360. Sorry, Hyle. Fucker.
It's probably crying over there.
He left. Fuck you guys.
Saruman is not going ham on that guitar right now. It's more like like a banjo of sadness.
All right, well, let's end this podcast, and we are going to be back in just a little while, I guess, to do a second one all about the top 5 video games of Generation 7. So we will see you guys on the other side. I want to say thanks to Champ real quick. Champ, thanks for coming on with us and moderating this for us.
Yeah, moderating. That's what I did.
Oh, here comes the guitar.
Kyle's got it out.
I already hear it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. And thank you to Animal Mother. Animal.
Remember, if you guys
Wait, time out. You guys are about to end this podcast without definitively saying the word. Aronica, I think you should flat out say it.
Xbox 360 wins.
Xbox
Yeah, there you go.
360.
No, you gotta say it the whole time. Ugh, God, I'll do it for you.
Begrudgingly.
And the pedal to the metal winner for best console of the generation goes to the Xbox 360.
Hiles defeated.
I just
so
threw
now
my
he's
red
just playing-
flag down.
He's just playing his
Good challenge,
guitar.
I call.
Eroika has kids, and I'm just sitting here. I don't know.
In your race car bed.
I'm sitting. Well, no, I'm sitting in my PC with my 27-inch IPS screen, which is awesome. I'm building.
I thought he
I'm
was
building-
going somewhere else with that 27.
I don't
Yeah, me
know.
too. I'm like, what?
Yeah, with
I'm
my
like, whoa.
27 inches.
Whoa.
No.
guys.
Someone's been really watching those other football commercials.
Jesus.
Yeah, all of those other football commercials
Those other kinds.
at Brazzers.com.
So so we want to say thanks then to everybody. And Hyle, you want to get us out of here?
Yeah, thanks for joining. Like I said, the red flag will be in the review. We'll put that to the replay booth, so
Oh, boo hoo
we'll see how it
hoo.
comes out in editing. So yeah, for all of us.
I imagine if Kyle does this, he edits the part of like my voice to say PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
like a hard cut.
Hey, that's an idea. All right.
And cows rejoice. Yeah. All right, so we will see you guys in a little bit.
All right, later.
Later.
Later.